we can now talk about Walker Independence in a spoiler-free review, just like the one we did with the Winchesters, except we're in the 1800s, and our main lady is Kat McNamara's Abigail Walker. For me, this is my most anticipated release on the CW for the fall. And it's mainly because, one, I love Westerns, and two, because this is going to be a great vehicle for Kat. And I can't wait to see what she does more in the role. In this in this pilot, it really sets up the lay of the land for what you're to expect from Abigail Walker. And I really like the aesthetic of it too, and the potential of Kat's character.
Would you say it was surprising when you watched it? Because it was for me. I know we've been on this journey with the show, kind of being like, what is this gonna be? And kind of like not super excited. And like, even when we were excited, we were kind of like cautious about it. Even going into the watch, I was like, I have no idea how I'm gonna feel watching this. And then I was so pleasantly surprised.
I was surprised. I would agree, because one started in a way I didn't expect it to start. If anyone's seen the trailer, like the basic premise is kind of like with Cordell, Abby loses her husband. But how we get to that point surprised me. And then as we go through everything in the town, I was like, this is not playing out the way that I thought it was going to play out. We get story information in like fast, quickly, really quickly. And I was like, I thought they were going to like spread some of this character stuff out, but it looks like we're right from the get-go. You're gonna know a lot about what happens with some of these characters.
Yeah, my favorite thing about the show is that it is surprising. We knew going into it that it was going to be different. The Winchesters, it has a similar format from some CW or WB shows we've seen before. They know how to make those shows. I've no doubt that show will be a success because of that format. Gotham Knights will either borrow from the superhero stuff or the Smallville stuff, which again, they know how to make these kinds of shows. Walker Independence is definitely the most different show the CW's adapted in perhaps ever. And we knew that going into it. We knew it would be different. And then the trailer was kind of divisive. I don't think it did it as much justice, and I can certainly say that having watched the pilot back now. I don't actually think the trailer does it as much justice. So it was going to be surprising all around anyway. And I'm glad that we went into the pilot expecting surprises and still were surprised by it. It feels larger than life. I referenced that earlier. It doesn't feel like a CW show. There's definitely a cinematic quality to it. Just the aesthetic of it, the way it's shot. It doesn't feel even like it's part of the Walker verse. It feels very much its own thing. It feels there's a movie quality to it, and I really like that about it. I really like that it moves fast, as we said, and that you get a lot of character stuff very, very quickly, so you know who you're dealing with. And I think it will continue to surprise people, but none more so than that. Maybe even the first act of the pilot, it moves that quickly, and I really like that about it.
There's also more like levity than I was expecting. I was expecting like a kind of like a dry, Yellowstone-ish kind of show. The themes and the stories are kind of heavy. Like they're dealing with a lot of big topics and subject matter. And to see, I think it's Hoyt's character that really brings in some brightness and a little bit of humor. What's the actor's name? It's
Matt Barr.
Yeah, I think he's really good. He was one of my favorite parts, and I was surprised at that too. I think the show, I still stand by that it's kind of ambitious, the storytelling that they're taking. But after seeing the product, I have much more higher confidence that they can pull it off. And everyone is so game. All of the actors are so game to be in these roles in this world, and they're taking a lot of care. So there's just so much potential, and I'm excited. And I didn't think that I would be saying that about this show. So like CW, you got me again.
It is a big swing. I do think that it's a big swing that's likely to pay off if the story elements that they have in the pilot expand in a way that suits the show, if that makes sense. Like, because you've seen pilots where it's just like, oh, the potential here is amazing. And then you watch the episodes after it and it's like, dang, they squandered it.
Mhm.
But like I have faith that they're not going to do that, and part of the reason is because of the way that they seed history into the show. That like might have people pause and be like, oh, I didn't know that that happened, or is this person a real person, or like when they're talking about this certain element, did that actually happen in U.S. history? Like it makes you think a little bit, or if you're like a history buff, you're like, I know that. Like I wonder how they're gonna expand on it. And then I do love one of the things that they seem to be pushing a lot, at least when it comes to the interviews with the actors, is the diversity and authenticity of the cast. And they are quite diverse, which means that we should be getting like historical points from the 1800s that some people, this might be the first time they've actually encountered this history.
Yeah, I like that. And I think that there's such like an authenticity. I believe one of you said it to the storytelling as well, that it can absolutely tell those kinds of stories. And again, those kinds of stories are what the CW was known for. And a lot of people said when a product like Windy came along that we may not see that kind of stuff in that program. So I'm glad we do. I'm glad there's room for diversity. I'm glad there's room for representation. And I'm glad there's room for authentic storytelling, because there is so much potential in a show like this. And it's very ambitious right out of the gate. And provided it gets the experiment or all the puzzle pieces fall in the right place, I think this could be one of the best shows the CW has produced in recent years.
For
After
sure.
seeing both pilots for Walker Independence and the Winchesters, I can see why they put so much behind these shows, because
Mm-hmm.
they both have so much identity and personality right out the gate. Like they know what they are, but there's still so much growth potential in both of
Mm-hmm.
them to become just grow even more, become even more what they um could be and should be. So I think these, after seeing them both, I'm like so on board with both of them.